Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. Today is the 26th of April 2022. A very interesting week and a very interesting day today. In the morning, we had some important results which came in. They are not 100% positive, nor are they negative. So there is no clue out there. So we have to wait and see what happens in the evening. After market, there will be a couple of tech majors who will be reporting, and that could probably provide us a direction. Having said that, we are going to do this daily update video, which is going to consist of three parts. The first one is going to be news and geopolitical events, etc., whatever is going to impact the market today. The second one is going to be technical analysis of Nasdaq, wicks, and gold and Bitcoin and so on. The third portion is going to be genomic shares, technical analysis with an idea of trying to predict potential price action. With that said, let's get started. Here are the headlines that will make an impact in the market today. The first one is Sumitomo Pharma takes license to CRISPR-Cas9 patent portfolio from ERS Genomics. ERS Genomics is a company that Emmanuel Charpentier co-founded as a vehicle for licensing CRISPR-Cas9 and monetizing the IP. So this kind of shows us that the business is not thinking too much about what's going to happen at the CRISPR IP ownership verdict, which is still due. Because the CVC group has appealed in the federal court. And it's apparent that there will be a compromise between Broad Institute and CVC, and everything should work out later on. And that's my understanding when I look at this piece of news. The second big news is that following Coke, Pepsico also raises revenue outlook as earnings beat estimates. However, as far as Pepsico is concerned, it has a bigger market in Russia than Coke. It has almost 4% of its revenues coming from there. So there has been a little bit of downplaying of potential results that we can expect from Pepsi going forward. CFO Hugh Johnston told analysts on a conference call that they don't expect the business to deliver a lot of growth this year, given all of the challenges and the decisions they have made so far. However, for the full year, Pepsi now expects organic revenue growth of 8%, up from its prior forecast of 6%. So they're still forecasting more, but when they talk about all the challenges and decisions they have made so far, they are referring to the fact that Pepsi roughly generates 4% of its annual revenue in Russia, making the country one of the few markets where it has a bigger presence than Coke. And having to forego that market is going to definitely have a impact on its bottom line. That's what they mean by that. And then going further, we have mass testing taking place in Beijing, a potential precursor to lockdown. And Elon Musk is taking over Twitter, and employees are uncertain about the future, and it's looking very messy right now. My major fear is not for Twitter, because whatever happens to Twitter doesn't... if Twitter doesn't do very well in the interim period, it's not going to make much of a difference. But what I'm more worried about is what's going to happen to Tesla. How much attention can Elon pay to Tesla and SpaceX and the Boring Company and the batteries, all those things? Because he has been a potential driver. The Mars mission, for example, is again a very complex undertaking. And I'm really a bit concerned that Elon Musk is dividing his attention. And in terms of utility, I think SpaceX, Tesla, all those things are of much greater utility than Twitter. Twitter is like a shiny object. Let's see what happens. It's going to go private, and maybe it gets into subscription model, which means it will no longer be a town square for everyone, which is what Tesla's CEO Musk said it was. So let's not get into that. That's a subject for a whole different video. Morgan Stanley confirms what we already know, that the US market is in bear territory. And Russia and Ukraine related news is that the UN chief is set to meet Putin. And the focus is on evacuation of civilians, which has faltered many times. And unconfirmed reports are emerging of Russian bombing in Moldova border. There is another area in Moldova where there is more Russian-speaking, pro-Russian citizens. So there is a fear that probably Russia is going to open another front in another country. These are unconfirmed reports. I'll wait for more confirmation in the next few days, but certainly not inspiring a great deal of confidence. We have major earnings coming due this week, out of which UPS has already reported, General Electric has reported, Pepsico has reported, 3M has reported. So I would like to look at some of these and show you what I mean by a mixed bag. After close, we're going to have Microsoft and Alphabet reporting, and that's going to be the one which moves the markets, in my opinion, as far as we are concerned, because those are all tech majors, and we will see how they report. And then again, we have Texas Instruments also. Those are the things that we have. Now, in terms of earnings, UPS already reported a consolidated revenue of 24.4 billion, up 6.4% from last year. Consolidated operating profit of 3.3 billion, up 17.6% from last year, and up 12.1% on an adjusted basis. Diluted EPS of $3.03, adjusted diluted EPS up 10.1% over last year to 3.05, and reaffirms full year 2022 financial guidance, raises targeted share purchase to 2 billion for 2022. So street expectations versus actual. UPS has passed with flying colors. This is a positive for the market. If you look at PepsiCo topped Wall Street's estimates for its first quarter earnings and revenue. The company raised its full year forecast for organic revenue growth. Pepsi reported a $193 million impairment charge after taxes as it tries to discontinue or reposition some of its juice and dairy brands in Russia. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, PepsiCo gets 4% of its market revenue from Russia. And in Russia, it is bigger than Coke, one of the places where it is much bigger than Coke. So it's definitely impacting its bottom line. And as far as street expectations versus actual is concerned, we have done PepsiCo has done a great job out here. 3M posted a mixed set of first quarter earnings. It has trimmed the 2022 profit outlook as mask demand slumps. And there was a revenue miss, very, very marginal. That's why I put it in orange rather than red. Earnings has been above expectation pretty well, and that's not a matter of concern. 3M posted mixed set of result for the first quarter earning, while trimming its full year profit forecast as a slump in COVID mask demand, as well as litigation costs linked to a settlement in Belgium, crippled the industrial group's bottom line. So now they have agreed to a shareholder request that they should publish quarterly information on the litigation related costs. And coming back to earnings, I think we are anxiously waiting for Microsoft, Alphabet, and Visa to report today so that we can decide which way the winds are blowing. And that can be helping us to be better informed for tomorrow. So there we go. Now, next, let's look at our indices and do some analysis out there. Let's get started with VIX first. VIX is up 6.66% and it has got support at 27.20 and it has a resistance somewhere around 32.48. So we'll have to see where it goes. Right now, if you look at the MACD and the momentum, it seems that up is the way for it to go. Right now, it's at 28.81 and its destination is 32.48. I think by evening, when we have reports from Microsoft and the tech majors, at that time, probably that could make some kind of a difference. If we look at US oil is up around 1%. And it's constrained by the 50-day exponential moving average. MACD is bearish and moving away from the signal line. Momentum is below average and flat. So I don't know if this positive can be maintained for longer. But intraday things can happen that can push this up. So we can't comment on that. Now looking at the 2-year yields. 2-year yields are falling. So whenever the yields start falling, whether it is 2-year or 10-year, it's a good indication that there is going to be risk-on conditions in the market. So we are heading in that direction, but whether it will take off or not depends on various factors, and some of which we already know, that is oil prices being low. And let us look at put-call ratio. That's another area where we can get some pointers. PCC is still bearish because there is some more puts than calls. Therefore, the expectation is that the market is going to fall. And again, the PCC is showing a doji candle, so even market is having indecision. Potentially this could be because maybe we expect some spectacular results from Microsoft and others when they report in the evening. Of course, Visa is also going to report. So those are all things that people have been waiting for. So it's not clear at this point of time where the market is going. Right now, everything is looking bearish. Who knows what happens when we come closer to the end of the day. Now looking at IXIC, which is a delayed Nasdaq, we can see that today out here, let me see if it's today's candle. Yeah, this is today's candle, this red spot out here, which is currently at 12,910. And we have support for it, which is this red line out here at 12,865.64. I'm going to convert this into a support line because this morning we just jumped back up. Yesterday we had gone below this. We have come up again, so it's a support for us. Our next resistance is going to be 13,031.68, which is this red line out here. And we have a MACD which is bearish but tending towards the signal line that gives a bit of a positive, but momentum is below average and falling. That's not good. We are already down 0.8% in the IXIC. And if we look at QQQ index, it's down minus 1.55. This is live feed. So things are not looking that great. I'm going to remove this diagonal line from here because it doesn't make sense anymore. And if I was to zoom out and look at where we are, so you can see that we are coming very close to the bottom that we had here, which was giving a support. There was some kind of support out here. So this support is at 319.31. We have bounced off it twice. So we'll have to see whether we bounce off it again, because right now the MACD is looking absolutely bearish. The MACD is looking bearish and moving away from the signal line. Momentum is also dropping. So QQQ is also showing a bearish sign. So that means that our genomic shares will also be going bearish. Now, if I go back to IXIC and zoom out, so you can see out here, since we discussed yesterday, we went down below this line of support, which happened to be at 12,865.64, but we have sharply bounced back up again. But as you can see in the evolving bar here for today, I'm just trying to expand this so you can see it more clearly. You see this red cube out here. It's trying to come downwards. So it seems to me that we are going to break down below this support again today. We try to push past it and we are being pushed back down. And once we come down below that, then this will become a resistance. 12,866.10 will become a resistance. And once it becomes a resistance, we are looking at the next support being at 12,560.87. It's not looking good, guys. But as you know, we make a prediction much early in the morning, but catalysts happen during the day and things get better. Now let's look at crypto and gold to see if we get any hints out there. So if I was to go into the crypto sector and look at Bitcoin, which is what we always look at, you can see that we are struggling against this diagonal line of resistance, which we broke down below yesterday. We went up briefly, we were pushed down by the 9-day exponential moving average. So overall on the charts right now, crypto Bitcoin is looking a bit weak because the MACD is also bearish, and however it's converging towards the signal line, but momentum is below average. I think Bitcoin is waiting to take its cues from Nasdaq. And if Nasdaq starts moving in the positive direction, we'll see some recovery in Bitcoin. When we look at gold, gold is going up slightly, and it has got resistance out here at 18.66, and that is going to be a test whether we are going to be able to go above that. Right now, it doesn't look like we would be able to go above that because MACD is bearish and moving away from the signal line, and momentum is just about picking up. We have support from the 100-day exponential moving average. The moment we break down below that, I would be definitely worried about gold. So if gold is going up, that means Nasdaq is likely going down. So overall, I think we are just waiting for the results. The market is a bit concerned. And once again, I'll take you to the indicators and show you the PCC. So the PCC, which was kind of in a doji candle mode when we last saw, has now made its decision, and it has come down here to 0.74, which means we are back into the bull territory. So there is optimism out there. Let us look at the futures while we are at it and see what the futures are showing. Futures are not very optimistic. Futures are negative. So as you can see, it's a mixed bag, and I think even the market is confused what's going to happen. Wherever the majority tends to believe is where it will go. So today I'm not going to make any predictions. It's a mixed bag. It's very, very difficult to predict. Let's go and have a look at our genomics and see what is happening out there. Let's look at Novartis to get started. When we look at Novartis, you see the earnings out here. We have an earnings surprise of 0.51% positive, and a revenue negative surprise of 0.69%. This 0.69% becomes a mixed bag. I would like to go and have a look at their outlook for the future to see whether it gives us a bullish sign or does it give a bearish sign. So here is the earnings review for Novartis. So Novartis income edges higher on strong Sandoz and Entresto. So one of the highlights that I have seen here is that Novartis was planning to sell Sandoz, its generic drug manufacturing unit, which was not doing that great, but that has come back into profitability. And also it's now estimated that the price tag for Sandoz, if Novartis was to sell it, is around $25 billion. And there have been multiple suitors for Sandoz. So that income might come in. And people are expecting that Novartis will invest that in acquiring some biotech companies. And here we have confirmation, despite plans to buy back up to 15 billion worth of shares, Novartis has said it would retain enough spending power to buy companies and technologies. So that could mean some CRISPR companies are going to get good money from Novartis. There'll be mergers and acquisitions, as I mentioned earlier, or that could be collaborations. And what else do we have here? With market expectations of a Sandoz price tag of about 25 billion, investors are looking for clues as to how Chief Executive Narasimhan will invest that money. But in a media call on Tuesday, he said targets would be $2 billion in size at most, well below deals over recent past. The CEO said even though prices of biotech firms have pulled back from excessive levels, they would have to fall further. There is still that adjustment in expectation which will take time to occur. We continue to screen aggressively, said Narasimhan. So this month, Novartis unveiled plans for a simplified structure that integrates its pharmaceuticals and oncology units, targeting savings of at least $1 billion by 2024. We have spoken about this in our previous videos as well. So overall, I think Novartis is looking great and bullish. Regeneron is also marginally positive. It's still having some support from the 50-day exponential moving average and the resistance from the 9 and 20-day exponential moving average. We have a very bearish MACD, and momentum is below average and flat. So nothing great to talk about for Regeneron today. Their earnings are coming on 4th of May. I'll bring about a separate video for all those companies which have got earnings coming up shortly. There'll be just 5 minutes or something, just like I did for Novartis. Vertex is down. Most of the other shares are down. I would like to look at IBB next. IBB is still falling. Fortunately for us, it's still in the level where it was yesterday, within the candle of yesterday. But the moment it falls below the candle of yesterday, we can imagine that we are in a really very bearish scenario. Then potentially I'll draw a line connecting the lower lows here and see if we have some floor below out there. IBB is looking very weak today. That kind of indicates that biotech and genomics are going to have a negative day. And as you saw earlier, all the indicators are in contrary positions, so it's very difficult to make any guess on where the market is going to move. Right now it is looking bearish, and I would stick with that for now. But anything can happen intraday and things can change, or probably towards the end of the day things can start looking up with the anticipation of results from Microsoft and Visa and others. So keeping my fingers crossed on that. Sorry, no predictions today. I think I would take a chance if I was to choose between bearish and bullish. Bearish it is. So that brings me to the end of the session today. Take care. Have a great day. If you like this video, please press a like. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.